Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
I think it's a little ridiculous. I think we should have been notified a lot sooner, and just kind of makes me wonder how many people were notified, how far of a radius they covered.
A local mom fears for herself and her children's safety after discovering a sex offender lives in her neighborhood. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us.
After receiving a flyer from the Fargo police, the mother of 4 is frustrated. It took police 8 months to alert her about it. The woman contacted our whistleblower hotline and wanted to remain anonymous, fearing that she might be harassed by the neighbor.
Valley News Team's Christine Stanwood reaches out to get answers about the sex offender notification system.
Angry, very angry, scared for our safety.
This mother lives in North Fargo, close to many schools.
It's scary that we live by 4 schools and he's so close to them all, and there's many kids that walk home, adults, college students.
Her job just got a little more tense. She rents a daycare out of her home for close friends and family, along with watching her 4 children.
I received a paper the other day about a registered sex offender that has been living next door to me for about 8 months now.
And she wants answers.
It's scary, disappointing that we weren't notified sooner.
And although she received a flyer from police, she says that a few of her neighbors did not.
It's hundreds of addresses that we're blanketing, and certainly there's a possibility we're going to miss 1 or 2.
Handing out flyers is just one of the ways police alert those living near moderate and high-risk sex offenders. Lieutenant Vettel is a part of the state's Sex Offender Risk Assessment Committee. The group meets once a month to assess new sex offenders and give them a ranking.
It certainly isn't a perfect process because it takes some time. At any given time, we have 100 that are coming into our state at any given time. And so we continue to try to conquer those as quickly as possible.
Vettel says Patrick Iverson moved to North Dakota from Wisconsin and was assessed last month as a moderate risk offender.
Once we were notified of that assessment here at the Fargo Police Department, we immediately did those notifications.
This mother expects police will be more proactive in the future.
I'm hoping that more people will know and that the police will notify people a lot sooner.
In Fargo, Christine Stanwood, Valley News Live.
After our investigation, police contacted our source. She tells us that there is a possible investigation underway on Iverson. Police say that they also notify the community using e-alerts and posts from their Facebook page. If you're wondering if sex offenders are living near you, there's a link to a map on our website, valleynewslive.com. And if you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. 701-237-6576. Call that number and leave your tip.
The suspect in a murder that happened this morning in Bismarck has been found dead. The body of 35-year-old Kirk Kwasniewski was found near the entrance of Little Missouri State Park, just north of Killdeer. Police say it appears that he died by suicide. The search started this morning when a woman called police saying she found her boyfriend dead and that Kwasniewski was in her home threatening her with a gun. He was gone by the time that officers arrived.
You knew it had to come to an end sooner or later. This is not the weather that we enjoyed yesterday. Let's go to Hutch to find out about tonight's conditions. Hutch?
Well, the south winds that have been gusting throughout the day, over 30 miles per hour at times, continue into the evening hours. Soupy skies out there and some drizzle that doesn't show up too well on the radar. What is showing up is severe weather in the Central Plains and severe winter weather in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. This moisture is heading our way, not necessarily the severe level of that weather. But for tonight, we will stay nearly steady temperature-wise. Gusty winds will continue, and expect the use of windshield wipers as you're out and about. Coming up, big changes in temperature, chance of some flakes for some, and I'll detail it all in your hour-by-hour forecast in a couple of minutes.
It is mid-November.
It is.
All right, thanks. Governors across the nation are not welcoming Syrian refugees in their states. Currently, 21 states will not accept Syrians. They're in the red on your screen. 7 will accept. They are in the green on your in color. This is the latest development after Paris authorities revealed that one of the terrorist suspects entered Europe within a group of Syrian refugees. Now, Valley News Team's Ashley Bishop has been looking into what the governors of Minnesota and North Dakota will do. Ashley?
In September, the Obama administration announced that 10,000 Syrians will be allowed to enter the United States next year. Those refugees will be welcomed into the state of Minnesota. Governor Mark Dayton said today that Syrian refugees can come in as long as they go through the highest level of security checks. As for North Dakota, Governor Jack Dalrymple, he did not directly say if he would object if they were placed in the state. Dalrymple stated that he consulted with the Lutheran Social Services of North Dakota. LSS informed his office that they do not place Syrian refugees in the state and do not expect to resettle them here in the future.
All right, thank you. Many of the governors that closed their borders to Syrian refugees say it's because of safety. They want better security and screening procedures from the federal government. To see the full list and map of the states that will accept and will not accept refugees, visit this story on valleynewslive.com. While driving around, you may have noticed flags at half-staff today. Today, North Dakota Governor Jack Dalrymple issued that all state government agencies fly the American and North Dakota flags at half-staff, this through Thursday. The action is to mark the respect to victims of the Paris attacks.
The University of Minnesota student government has voted to no longer recognize 9/11 anniversaries. The organization posted information about their decision on their Facebook page. Their post is responding to the recent attention surrounding their decision, and it says, the meeting addressed Islamophobia, in addition to how a moment of recognition could be implemented on a large college campus. The post also says that some members have voiced their support for holding a moment of recognition for 9/11 victims, but due to the lack of what they call action steps, they didn't know how this would be done. To read the full post, head to valleynewslive.com and click on this story.
In West Fargo, voters will go to the polls tomorrow to decide a $98.1 million referendum for the school district. West Fargo is looking to build 2 new elementary schools, add on to West Fargo High School, build a new hockey rink and a swimming pool. A yes vote will not increase school property taxes, according to the school district. Owners of a $150,000 home would see their property tax responsibility continue to be at about $200 a year. A vote no would mean taxpayers will see a decrease in their property tax.
Voting for a new UND nickname ends at midnight tonight, and the winner of the 2 remaining choices, Fighting Hawks or Rough Riders, will be announced sometime this week.
However, as Valley News Team's Neil Carlson shows you, it could take months before the new nickname and logo will actually be put into use.
After years of controversy, we're quickly rolling toward a final decision on what will be UND's new nickname. However, the actual implementation of that new nickname could take several more months.
The full use of a nickname will occur when a visual identity is developed to go along with that nickname.
Several folks have already suggested several designs for a new logo, but officials say actually getting a new logo designed and approved could take months.
We anticipate that the process of logo development will take several months, and we plan to have more information about how that process will work when we announce the new nickname.
And there's a possible legal snag in all this. Former Bismarck Mayor Marlon Hawkinson has already filed trademark protection against anyone using the name Fighting Hawks. He did it in an effort to keep the Fighting Sioux nickname from ever being changed.
Our attorneys concluded that none of them were categorically unavailable.
It may not be an insurmountable legal hurdle if it's Fighting Hawks and someone else owns the trademark.
I think we can find a way forward with whatever selected.
However, the way forward to the finish line in all this is still months away, despite the nickname vote wrapping up at midnight. In Grand Forks, Neil Carlson, Valley News Live.
And even though voting wraps up at midnight tonight, there's no definitive word on whether the results will be released tomorrow or on Wednesday.
An ice rink shortage in the area has hockey parents fed up and frustrated. Back in 2013, we reported there would not be enough ice rinks to deal with the area's population boom. Now tonight on Valley News Live 10 at 10, Christine Stanwood explains how the lack of ice has affected families and what is being done about it.
Check your schedule and start looking for loose change. The Salvation Army Red Kettle Drive is off and ringing and could use your money and your help.
Some very cold air pooling for our neighbors to the north in Alaska. Some of this cool air heading our way. I'll have hour-by-hour details in your forecast coming up right after this.